We also saw a mention of the P word, pardon. First time in my memory from any kind of Mueller court appearance or filing. I'll put it on the screen. Prosecutors put forward why Manafort may have lied because telling the truth about an unnamed sensitive issue would have negative consequences in terms of the other motive that Mr. Manafort could have, which is to at least augment his chances for a pardon. And Jeremy, that can, when a pardon is a part of this, that can confuse everything.
Yeah, because of course Manafort is probably playing for a pardon given the exposure he has, and he wants to show the president directly in the same way that Roger Stone has been posturing that, hey, I'm tough, I'm not bending or yielding to the prosecutorial pressure here. But of course that's a dangerous game, because if the president engages in a pardon, that could be more fodder for the Mueller team to think about the pardon as a tool of obstruction. And of course, it hands on a silver platter to the House of Representatives an issue to explore as an oversight mechanism, the way the pardon power was used in the same way that Congress has overseen other presidential pardons. But also, if we get to the point down the road, and obviously we're not there yet, where impeachment is discussed, impeachment under our constitutional system is the one thing that can trump, pun intended, trump a pardon.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.